We now know more about the BlackRock Spot XRP and Solana ETF. There was a hit piece in the block that said BlackRock wasn't interested in this. They are now being called out on a huge scale. Now let's find out what's going on and what we can expect. Someone who works at BlackRock says that he is betting everything that there will be a Spot XRP ETF. This and some other things will be talked about in this movie. A lot of things about XRP. We're going to look at some Bitcoin maxis near the end. XRP is all I can think about. Shouldn't we talk about this? Here is what Marty Party said should be done. This has been proven to be false after several discussions. Either the block writer made up the story or took it out of context and used it to support their own views. Many Lana and XRP ETFs are in talks with BlackRock. The time can't be confirmed. October is the last month to file. This is the write-up that spread the false report. Nate Grossi, this is proven to be nonsense from the block XRP, so spot ETFs on BlackRock apps are 100% possible. This fake news was made up so that all Ripple and Solana buyers would stop following the block and definitely stop following their reporter for the win. So hot. Now, here is the piece that Sarah Wynn turned in. This person is right here to win. It looks like she's getting a lot of hate. To give you more background on this story, the blog post that went viral saying BlackRock had officially filed for or confirmed plans to start XRP or Solana spot ETFs is not true, and many reliable sources and market reports have shown this. BlackRock has not yet put in for any spot ETFs for XRP or Solana as of August 10th, 2025. The company made it clear that they have no plans to offer these ETFs right away. They also said that rumors of official filings or approvals, like those spread by fake Delaware papers and some media outlets, were either made up or completely taken out of context. Nate Grassi, an expert on exchange-traded funds, ETFs, says that he thinks BlackRock will file for a spot XRP and Solana ETFs at some point, but there has been no communication or public filings yet. The SEC date in October is just the regulatory window during which such applications could be sent in. No confirmation or announcement has been made about a real BlackRock filing. It looks like we'll find out in October if and when spot XRP ETFs will be allowed. This is also the time frame that BlackRock would need to file if they want to get into either XRP or Solana. So guys, this story is changing. It's hard for me to keep up with it here. And if the news is wrong, I will bring that right here on this station right away. Of course, I feel like one of those things that you see outside of car shops when there's air and they're flopping around like that. That's how it feels now. So this is Nate Garassi. You can follow him on YouTube if you want to. He runs Nova DS Wealth, hosts ETF Prime, helped start ETF Institute, and writes for the site. He is also one of the insiders who has been telling us a lot about a possible BlackRock spot ETF for XRP and other assets. There's a lot at stake for him here because he believes it. Yes, I believe BlackRock was waiting for this to come out before putting in for an iShares XRP ETF. If I'm wrong, I'll own it. I don't see any reason for them to ignore crypto assets besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. To do otherwise would be to say that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only ones that will ever be valuable, which is a very big claim. All of the Bitcoin maxis have put their money in a safe place, so we know that Bitcoin is now a way to store value. When it comes to real-world use, Ethereum and XRP each have their own applications. A great many groups and people are very interested in those assets. Since the beginning of the year, 1,300 ETFs have come out. 10 of the top 20 are about crypto, and the top 4 are all about crypto. These are the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs have already made them a lot of money. They could sell these items if their customers ask them to, so why wouldn't they? As I keep asking you on this channel, if you work at a company like BlackRock or Merrill Lynch or any other, ask them when they will be giving these products so you can take part. Have in mind that you have a voice and it's best that you use it. No, we're not going to offer those products is the worst thing they could say, right? You did say something though, so I know you got it. This is from Digital Asset Investor, which quotes Fed Brokot, who is the head of business in the US at 21 shares. Brokote? Okay, fine. All of the money in our XRP and Solana ETFs came from outside of Europe this year. Just think about it. How will this look in the US once these goods are okay? Let's get this done in 44 seconds, looking to keep an eye on the world's top 10 crypto investments. And so for us, it all comes down to giving buyers the freedom and choice to say what they think about certain assets and use the ETF as a way to do it in a way that is, as I said before, low cost, safe, and clear. We can see that there is desire. Just to give you a little more knowledge about what he means with this, the amount of money that has been invested in XRP ETFs around the world so far is only part of the story. US-based XRP ETFs that are based on futures. As of August 2025, about 1 billion has been put into futures-based slot-in XRP ETFs around the world since they first started trading earlier that year. Most of these goods are backed by futures and have been available on US exchanges since April and May 2025 in large amounts. Some physically backed XRP products have been around for a while in other countries, like the 21 shares AXRP ETF in Switzerland and plans in Canada, but they don't have a lot of assets. Okay, so it gives us an example of 21 shares of XRP that are traded online, right? There are ETFs and ETPs. ETPs are just more popular online traded goods around the world. In the United States, ETFs for short, those have really become the rule. It says XRP ETPs with between 40 and 60 million assets under management based on recent data from the European market. This is just to make sure you understand what we're talking about. In addition to direct institutional investment, XRP has recently received 200 million in-kind contributions from institutions. This is mostly due to the expectation that ETF approvals will happen. Hashtag Spot XRP ETF in Brazil, which was created in April 2025, is now worth 40% more, but the exact assets that have come in have not been fully disclosed. It is thought that there will be at least 1.2 to 1.3 billion XRP ETF vehicles around the world by August 2025, including futures-based US ETFs and allocated internationally physically backed ETPs. And a big one admitted to getting money from institutions. US inflows were expected, right? This came up a lot on this channel. Someone at JP Morgan thinks that $3 to $8 billion could come into XRP in the first 12 months. Remember that when they make these funds, they're selling people shares in the funds. To pay for those goods, they're buying XRP off the market at the same time, okay? People who want these goods will buy XRP off the open market if there is a new demand or a surge in demand. This will cause some kind of flywheel effect. That's where the market cap ratio will show up. Remember that the number could be anywhere from 100 to 600x based on how much money comes in and goes out. That might mean a lot here. If you multiply $1 billion by 100, you get $100 billion in market value. If you multiply 500 by itself, the market value would be 500 billion. Think about getting $3 or $5 billion and having that 100 or 500-fold increase. In an instant, the market value of XRP could reach trillions of dollars. We'll talk about it again. Just in case I'm wrong about this, you know what? We must have looked over the numbers 100 times, right? We've been through this many times. I'm going to stick to it. A JP Morgan analyst thinks that 4 to 8 billion other sources will say moderate, 3 to 6 billion. We'll take it no matter what. It's a billion. Let's keep going. Riz says that the law has freed him. Let's play this. At this point, what really works in crypto? Which of the following is the most useful thing about crypto right now? Going back to where we started more than a decade ago and really solving the cross-border payment, the payment challenge, and making it possible for banks and other financial institutions to move money around the world is a real challenge. Even now in 2025, it's still faster for me to fly that cash to my aunt in Australia than to send an international wire. In this way, we are really breaking down barriers, which lets these banks give their users a much better experience. Being able to do that on a truly global scale, whether it's through stablecoins or XRP, I think that changes the way we think about traditional banking in a big way. You need to know a lot about Bitcoin, right? Especially from the European Central Bank and other European central banks that want to know if Bitcoin is being used to move money or do other shady things. That's the main reason they don't want to touch Bitcoin. When you look at something like XRP, you can see that all of the major banks have tried this technology. They understand what it does. In order to move money between countries, they know how this can help them with the touch of a finger for almost nothing. I don't know what else will be valuable in the future banking system, if that, right? Yes, Swift GPI has sped up messages and settlement, but it comes at a very high cost. Usually it happens in first hour or 24 hours. The old system or the new system will be looked at by banks. Should I keep the old method even though the new one will save me a lot of money? If people are willing to pay these ridiculous fees and use the Swift system, I think it will be pretty clear what some of these banks will do and how they will run their new businesses. As you can see, Bitcoin Maxis loves to talk about XRP. We appreciate all the help they've given us, and it makes for good content, so thank you. When Bitcoin Maxis talks about XRP all the time, you should know what you're having. Let's play XRP like Google did in its early days. Well, cross-order payments